Good day to the 4 people watching this, and welcome to my first attempt at making a YouTube video. Today I'm going to share my thoughts and opinions of The Last of Us Part 2 and talk about the most controversial points of the story. I did my best to make this video as enjoyable as I can, so please forgive any mistakes. I have never experienced anything as powerful as Part 2. It left me speechless and I couldn't get it out of my mind. I just kept asking questions to myself, and it took me 2 months to really develop my opinion about the game. And for the first time, I felt like I could criticize a game. Part 2 has many issues, and it's far from perfect, but it really changed my look to everything. I'm saying this because after getting my thoughts out of my head, I got over The Last of Us, but I don't want to forget how strongly it impacted me. It's so amazing to see how far games have gone. I'm going to start with one of the most controversial events in the game. I love Joel, but let's be honest. He doomed humanity with his decision to save Ellie and killed many innocent people in the way. Some might argue that the Fireflies were never going to develop a cure, or that they were going to use it to control the world. But I believe, based on what they said, that they really could have found a cure, or at least a vaccine. And whatever happens next can't be worse than the infected. So it only makes sense for Joel's actions to have consequences. Even Joel himself knew that. He didn't even ask Abby who she was. He knew his past and knew that this day would come. I'm glad to at least see that when it came down to it, he was ready and brave. However, I really don't like how Abby just found him by luck. But then again, what are the chances of Joel surviving this? There are no superheroes in The Last of Us world. Even main characters to us can die in one shot, just like we kill all other enemies. They can get tortured, just like everyone else, and Abby got lucky just like Joel, so I can let that slip. But leaving Ellie and Tommy alive was a stupid decision. Of all people, Abby and her group know most how far can someone go to get revenge. I think they could have done more with this whole part. I wanted to know why Abby killed Joel. What pushed her to torture him like she did? I was interested in this new character, till I got to where Abby breaks into the theater, kills Jessie and points her gun to Ellie. And they just leave it there and you start playing as her. At that point, I couldn't care less about who Abby was or what her motives were. During all of her section, all I wanted is for it to end, just so I can see what happened to Ellie. That means half of the game was ruined to me, which is a shame really, because her part was honestly better than Ellie's. Obviously what they wanted to do here is to make the player despise Abby as much as they could, and then make him play as her to show him that she isn't as bad as he thinks. But it didn't work to me. I can spend hours talking about Ellie from the first game. In part 2, however, it's only one word. She's just a monster. From the start of the game, we see that no one likes her in Jackson. She has only 2 friends. No one greets her, and she just had a fight the night before we start playing as her. Which is unbelievable because we saw how friendly and lovable she is. And we don't need to talk about all the killing and torture. They really made her look like a monster, and just sacrificed her to make part 2. That's honestly what I think. I was disgusted by how hard they tried to make me sympathize with Abby and hate Ellie. They purposely showed how Abby is loved by her group when Ellie isn't, how Abby pets and plays with the dogs that Ellie brutally kills, how Abby gave up her revenge for her family, Ellie didn't. Even enemy types, they show us how awesome and organized the WLF are, while they present the Scars as this barbarian group that deserve to be killed. Just look at her father. He goes out of his way to help animals, he collects coins, he's the best father ever and the doctor who could have saved humanity if not for Joel. It's just so obvious. He's somehow the only peaceful person we see in both games. One of the reasons the first game was such a masterpiece is because it found the balance between being a linear game and leaving the player the choice to judge Joel. You couldn't control his actions, but you could choose what to think of them. However, with part 2 I felt forced to like Abby, so I tried my best to hate her. Don't get me wrong, I'm all for telling the other side of the story, but not at the cost of demonizing Ellie. This part was just too happy and unrealistic. Every person we saw in both games struggles to survive, but here we find Ellie and Dina just chilling in the middle of nowhere, with somehow all the infrastructure they need. It was so overwhelming, especially after that fight, but objectively, I found it hard to believe that anyone could live like that. Also, how is Tommy alive? Even if the shot didn't immediately kill him, no one was there to stop his bleeding or help him. I'm glad he isn't dead, but I think he should be. I thought long and hard about this one, and to be clear, I'm so happy she let her go. It was the only decision Ellie took that finally showed her human side, and I'm going to explain why Ellie realized at that exact moment that all of this wasn't worth it. As said in the first game, Ellie's biggest fear is ending up alone, and that fear is represented by Abby. To Ellie, Joel was her only family, her only home, and not even Dina could replace him. And as if losing her home wasn't hard enough, Abby didn't only kill Joel, but also Ellie's chance to forgive him. And why forgiving Joel is so important? It's because Joel has already been dead in Ellie's eyes since she discovered his lie. And when she's about to forgive him, about to get him back, he was killed. To Ellie, Joel died twice. So not only she felt extremely sad and furious, but also felt guilt and regret for all the wasted time she could have spent with him. So to Ellie, Abby is actually much more than her biggest fear. In fact, the only time we see Ellie afraid in both games is when she was facing Abby. So aside the deep feeling that Ellie had, she was also blinded by fear. And at the moment when she overcame her fear, the moment when she defeated Abby, she could finally see that even that won't bring Joel back, and that her only option was to let Joel go and move on. The last thing said in the game was,
No. Just take him.
Ellie wasn't talking about Lev, she was talking about Joel. She let Abby take his memory from her. As she let go of the guitar he gave her years ago, Ellie has finally moved on. So now to the big questions. Is The Last of Us 2 a good story? To me personally, I can say it changed my life. And that's all you can ask from a video game, from anything really. But I can see why some people don't like it. It was purposely made to be controversial, which is untrue to the video game's cause. But anyway, is it a good game? Undoubtedly yes. It has some of the best acting, gameplay, graphics and soundtrack I have ever seen. And it's amazing how some people totally overlook this side of The Last of Us, as if it isn't a game anymore. Does it deserve Game of the Year? I don't know. I haven't played any of the other nominees. Does it deserve all of the love it got? Yes. All of the hate? Not even half of it. So that was it for my first video. I hope you enjoyed it. Please leave your feedback, and what do you want to see next? I still have much more to say about the story, and also I want to talk about the politics in the game. If this video gets over 3 likes, I'm doing a house giveaway. Thank you for watching.